Hibiscus plant is an easy to grow and care plant, and it produces very beautiful flowers in exchange of very less care. But some mistakes makes the hibiscus plant not to bloom. Therefore in this video, we will talk about these 7 reasons of why hibiscus plant not blooming. So let's start, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates. The most common problem that makes hibiscus plant not to bloom is less pruning and trimming. When we stop pruning the overly grown shoots, the hibiscus plant stops flowering. It only makes these branches more and more bigger, and no buds and flowers will appear. The new buds and flowers mostly appears on the top side of a newly growing branch. And for more growing shoots, we have to prune hibiscus time to time, so it keeps on producing new branches and hence more flowers will appear. You can prune your hibiscus whenever the growth looks like this. For a detailed guide on pruning of hibiscus plant with season, method, precautions, and so on, you can check out an article added in the description and on our website puregreena.com. So if your hibiscus plant is not blooming, then it could be due to the lack of pruning. Another common problem is too much sun exposure. Hibiscus plant is a tropical area plant that loves to grow in a humid area with a plenty of indirect sunlight. But in hot summer days, the too much sun exposure on its leaves makes them to get down. For a heavy flowering on hibiscus plant, good location plays a big role. You have to choose a semi-shaded area where sunlight can come, but only for an hour or two. And dry area around the plant, don't let it grow constantly, and this thing affects the ability of hibiscus plant to bloom. So if your hibiscus plant is not flowering, then it could be due to the burning sun. Another reason of less flowering of hibiscus plant that is very much common is the deficiency of nutrients. As hibiscus plant grow faster, then it definitely requires lots of nutrients. Deficiency of nutrients causes less blooming of hibiscus plant very frequently, so you have to make sure your soil mix is not deficient of nutrition. Deficiency of essential nutrients not only makes the hibiscus less blooming, but it also makes the leaves to turn brownish and yellowish. So good fertilizer for hibiscus plant is really important to keep it well growing and blooming. You can check out our homemade organic Npk fertilizer that makes the soil full of nutrients added in the description box. And keep fertilizing hibiscus plant every 20 days for a consistent flowering. The next reason that causes hibiscus plant not blooming is the moisture and humidity. Means if the environment is dry, then it causes less blooming. Or if the soil is dry for most of the time, then it also stops hibiscus plants blooming. Hibiscus plant loves to have a humid area, and dry soil and dry environment don't let it grow constantly, and hence less flowering. So it is important to keep the soil moist, not wet and not dry. Overwatering makes the hibiscus leaves yellow, and roots goes under stress, and this thing ultimately makes hibiscus plant not to bloom. Another common reason of less flowering of hibiscus plant is the soil quality. If your soil is water blocking, and moisture stays long in the soil, then it also affects the flowering of hibiscus plant. In the same way, if the soil is not loose and soft for the roots, then it can also affect flowering. Compact soil mix blocks the exchange of gases and roots can't able to grow. So choosing a porous and well-draining soil mix is also important. You can buy a good soil mix for hibiscus plant from the description box. So you also have to consider this point for a healthy flowering on hibiscus plant. Another reason that stops the flowering of hibiscus plant is the seasonal change. Hibiscus plant produces flowers all around the summer days, and as the season changes, the hibiscus plant gradually decreases its growth and blooming. In winter season, they don't produce flowers. And if the temperature is very low in your area, then it can be fatal for hibiscus plant too. So the only thing you can do is to protect your hibiscus plant from the frost by moving it under a shade. Another reason of less blooming of hibiscus plant can be less space for roots. Hibiscus plant can grow as bigger as several feet, therefore it must requires a big size pot to keeps on growing. In ground, this reason don't affects the blooming of hibiscus plant. But in pots, hibiscus plant requires to be repotted every year. If roots get stuck in the pot, then it causes a stunted growth of leaves and buds. So the solution is simple: check for the repotting, and give the hibiscus roots a bigger container to grow constantly. So these are the reasons of why hibiscus plant not blooming. Follow up these tips and tricks and your hibiscus plant definitely produces lots of buds and flowers. For making organic NPK fertilizer for hibiscus plant, you can check out this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates.